So yeah, so I guess we missed August this year, but for real though, like, isn't every month around here August? I think we'll be okay. There's always next year. Hey guys, so it's the end of August, and August was, for me, it was going to be my month to kind of reinvigorate that spark that I have for making art. And in the beginning of the month, if you've been watching along, you know I gave myself that challenge of creating that full illustration, and we did that, and that was a lot of fun. But it didn't kind of do what I was hoping it would do. It didn't really like refill that creative bank that I feel like has been just drained. And so what I did this month after that was just work in my sketchbooks, because I know that that's what I love. I know that's never time wasted. And yeah, so that's what you're gonna see. That's what you're gonna see me do, is working in my sketchbooks and trying to just find that spark again. Hey, so I decided to give this another try. It's a gorgeous day, and the rest of this week is supposed to be like terrible, like stormy and rainy and awful. So I'm gonna try and take advantage of the one good day this week, and I'm gonna run a couple of errands. But first, I'm going to stop at a local cafe to do some sketching. So wish me luck. Cafe sketching was a bust. It was just not comfortable in there at all. So we're at stop number 2 now, and this is the Goodwill store. So I'm gonna see what goodies I can find in here. Okay, guys, so you probably guessed, but here we are back in my oil painting sketchbook, one of the 3 sketchbooks that I used primarily in August. And if you haven't seen, have you haven't seen this sketchbook before, it's pretty new. I did one other painting, I think, in one of my vlogs when I first started the sketchbook, and to be honest, I haven't done a whole lot in this sketchbook, but I feel like this month this is just exactly what I needed. So I think there's probably nothing more relaxing and kind of almost meditative than to just paint with absolutely no expectations. And honestly, I didn't plan on sharing any of the work that I did here on these pages. This was just to get oil painting out of my system because it was something that I was looking at and I was like, oh, that sketchbook, I really want to start getting back into that and start playing with those oil paints again. I just love the idea of kind of that sculptural quality that oil paints have that I feel like just other paints just don't have it. Other mediums just don't have that same quality that oil paints have, at least for me. And so every time I would go through my studio and see it sitting there, I just want to pick it up so bad, but I'd always have something else that I was supposed to be doing. And so on this day, I just kind of put all that aside and just let myself play around in the sketchbook. And I had created these 2 little sketches in here, really quickly just for fun, and I ended up really loving them. As a matter of fact, this one that I'm painting now, I actually scanned it in and printed it out, and it's now hanging up on my wall behind me because I love it so much. And it's not because it turned out like fantastic, but I think mostly because it was the experience of painting it that was just the experience that I needed to have that day. So every time I look at it, I'll remember how relaxed and how much I was enjoying painting on that day. And that's where I want to be every time I paint. I know it can't be that way necessarily, but we can hope and we can try, and maybe someday we'll get there. But yeah, for now, I'm just gonna keep painting. Okay, so let's take a look at these sketchbooks. Let's take a look at the work that I got done in August. Um, so here are my 3 favorite sketchbooks. Let's dive in. All right, let's start with the one that I worked in the least, which is the oil painting sketchbook. So we're starting off, the first page is the one that I did in July when I started off the sketchbook. It was the end of July, and I think there's another vlog, I'll try and list it here, where you can see the full painting of that. And we have the 2 that we painted on this vlog, which are the only others that I painted in this book. Everything else is just sketches that I might paint. These 2 are probably some of my favorites so far. I think we have a dog that you're going to see often. That's this one with the bow on her head. I love painting this dog. I love drawing this dog. The faces on this dog are just too much for me to handle. So yeah, that's all we've got in this book. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go to my warm-up sketchbook. So this is my tiny warm-up sketchbook, and I draw in this book almost every day. So sometimes I only have a few minutes, and sometimes I have longer, but I try and get into this sketchbook almost every day. This book helps me get over my fear of drawing every day, and helps me reestablish the idea that I kind of know what I'm doing, and also helps me figure out kind of what I want to practice in a given day. So it might be shading, it might be line work, it might be something else, but yeah, that's what I use this book primarily for. Not everything in here is going to be my favorite, but some of these, like this one, are ones that I'm particularly proud of. I love the idea of being able to just be free in here and just think of something that I want to try and give it a try, without kind of a fear of like, oh, I'm ruining or I'm wasting a page. I'm not worried about that in this sketchbook. Primarily what I'm using in this sketchbook are Prismacolor Kohl Erase. I think they're Prismacolor. And some of the colors show up better than others. This is the terracotta, I think. It seemed like it was going to be darker. But mostly I'll use the carmine red or the Tuscan red. I think this is the carmine red. And then, or the blue, or there's like a dark green. Those seem to show up the best. And this is the start of a bunch of dogs and crowns that you're going to see in the next sketchbook. Okay, so let's hop into the next sketchbook, which is, I'm not sure what this is anymore, actually. It started out as like my block and practice sketchbook, and now it's kind of just become my go-to pencil sketching practice book. So like the other sketchbook, I'm using a lot of Kohl Erase in this book. I'm using primarily any colored pencil that I can get my hands on that's got like that doesn't smear too much like this one did, and that's got like a hard lead that I can get soft shading with. I do like to try and get some soft shading as well as some sharp lines in a lot of these drawings, and so a harder pencil is going to help me get there. I love the Kohl Erase, but they are a little bit smeary, and when I'm working on both sides of the pages, if I don't slip a piece of paper in between, the previous pages can tend to get a little bit marked up, which I don't like. So something that's interesting that I started doing in this book, and I don't think it was totally conscious at first, is I'm starting to pair up the left and right sides with what I'm practicing. So the whole reason that I did both of these sketches was because of the ears, and that kind of drew me to put them together. So ears up and ears down. But yeah, the ears up and the big ears down kind of, this page. I don't even want this in here. I wish it wasn't in here. It was flower practice that I was doing, and yeah, breaks the flow. But like I said, I like to try and pair up the practice. And in this case, it was soft shading. And I did a smaller sketch and I did a larger sketch, both with trying to get a little bit more soft with my shading. And yeah, with the Kohl Erase pencil, you can do that pretty well. It smudges nice and gives you that ability to get real soft shading. Here's two hound dogs. Obviously, they belong together. They almost look like they could be the same hound dog, but they're not. They're two different dogs, but their snouts, like the foreshortening of their long snout, I think the only thing I would change here is I would maybe add in that little negative space under the ear on the right-hand side dog, under his left ear, like it has on the right ear. I think that would balance that composition out a little bit better. Obviously, on this spread, I was practicing the floofs. I think the floof probably on the dog on the left-hand side is maybe a little bit more successful than on the right. I think kind of that area right under the chin, on that kind of neck area, is probably the most successful of both of those two sketches. So yeah, I think that area is probably what I was going for. And yeah, I like how that came out versus the other. And on this spread, I love the faces on both of these pups, but they're very, very different, but they're both very expressive, and that was what I was trying to go for. So on the left, you've got kind of a more sassy face with the eyebrow up, and then on the right-hand side, you also have the eyebrow up, but not like in a sassy way, just kind of in a quirky way. And yeah, older dogs, especially the frosty-faced older dogs, they can be really tricky to capture in a way that's kind of flattering. So that's what I wanted to try here. All right, so this one doesn't have a partner yet, but I think we're gonna find one. And yeah, this is, I mentioned we did a whole bunch of dogs with crowns. So the previous two had crowns on, and this one, and I think the next one has a crown as well. This is probably one of my favorite sketches in this book. This is the same dog that I love sketching, that same Boston Terrier that you saw in the oil painting sketchbook. And if you've been around for a while, I'm sure you've seen me paint this pup before. I have stickers with this pup on it, and yeah, I just love this face. All right, and here's the sketch, the last sketch of the month, the one that you just saw. Yeah, this was probably one of my, I would say, most involved sketches in this book. I probably took longer on this one than I've taken on any other sketch in this book, and I just wanted to slow down and take my time and really be thoughtful about how I played with the floof on this one. I really wanted to make sure that it was defined and, yeah, that it looked good. I wanted to do this pup justice. And also, it's a good way to end the book. Or not end the book, but it was a good way to end the month. Okay guys, that's it for me. The only thing left for me to do in August is just make prints and get them shipped out to everybody who wanted a copy. If you're following along on Instagram and you'd like a print of anything that you saw in my sketchbook, just let me know, send me a DM, and I'd be happy to make one for you. But yeah, other than that, I hope you had a good August. I hope you got time in your sketchbook or got time to do whatever it is that helps refill your creative bank. And actually, I'd love to know what that is. If you would leave it in the comments, that would be amazing. I'm still looking for ideas, guys. But yeah, if you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.